Greetings, grass viewers! This is my Low-Piklopedia challenge. First of all, what is the Piklopedia? In case you forgot, this is the Piklopedia. It documents each enemy you've encountered as well as each bud you've encountered and each plant that you've encountered. But when are these added to the Piklopedia? It's different for each enemy and plant, but in general, an enemy is added when it's killed and you see its ghost. A bud is added as soon as you throw a Pikmin into it and it makes a sprout. And plants are added as soon as you touch them, which can make them very deadly for this challenge. And that's because in this challenge, I want to minimize how many entries I use in the Piklopedia by the time I pay off the debt. Now, why do I only pay off the debt in this challenge? Well, it makes an interesting restriction to how I played the game, because, for example, to pay off the debt, I do not need white Pikmin actually, but to beat the game, I definitely need white Pikmin because buried treasures are always going to be buried until I get white Pikmin. And likewise, I also do not need exploration kit items to pay off the debt, but I do need them to beat the game. So without exploration kit items like the knapsack, I won't be able to use fancy glitches like knapsack out of bounds glitches that tend to be pretty helpful in challenges. And with that finally out of the way, I can finally talk about the challenge. So the goal of the challenge is to have minimal entries in the Piklopedia by the time I pay off the debt. Additionally, I also want minimal creatures defeated for this challenge. So if I already have killed 6 pellet posies and I don't need to kill a 7th one, I will not kill the 7th one because that will also appear on the Piklopedia as a creature defeated. This is basically as close as you're going to get to a pacifist run in this game. Now let's get into the run and see how low we can get. Stay tuned for some interesting techniques and glitches that have not been shown in other videos. I'm going to show you the best parts of the run, including the struggles I had to face along the way. So let's get to it. And right off the bat, we're going to start with Day 1 Extinction, baby! If we didn't do this, we'd have to kill all the pellet posies and the dwarf bulborb on Day 1. That would stink, so let's not do that. Let's just kill the red Pikmin instead. I mean, it won't show up in the Piklopedia, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, okay, fine. I won't kill any more Pikmin in this challenge. But I will kill my first enemy. The pellet posy is defeated. First entry in the Piklopedia will have to be the pellet posy. There's no way around it. I need Pikmin. I can't grow Pikmin without killing pellet posies. And another one bites the dust, like that. With my 2 pellet posies defeated, I have 5 total Pikmin. I could kill this dwarf bulborb, but that would be another Piklopedia entry. Who wants that? This does mean my Y button will not work the entire challenge, by the way. Now I'm killing my 3rd pellet posy. And this one, unlike the other 2, has a 5 pellet. And I can finally carry it because I have 5 Pikmin. What do you know? Now I have 10 Pikmin by Day 3, and if I go into the Piklopedia, we'll see that I do have the pellet posies in there, with 3 of them defeated so far, but that will not last for long because I do need more. But now I have 10 Pikmin, which means I can get 10 pellets from pellet posies. This is fantastic! Now I can get 10 Pikmin per pellet posy kill. At this point I have 20 Pikmin, so I figured, what the heck, why not get my first treasure? The first 10 pellets spawned on Day 4, but I had to wait until Day 7 before I can get the next one. And my 3rd and last 10 pellet will be on Day 10. How fitting. Finally, I have all the Pikmin I need to crush this 35-weight paper bag. I had to sacrifice 6 pellet posies to crush you, you stupid paper bag. Get out of here. Anyway, now I can collect the other scrap with ease, and then I can make my way into Emergence Cave. We got close, Citrus boys. This is PB Pace right here. The quenching emblem was just a tad more difficult than the citrus lump, but all I need to do was lure the dwarf bulborb out of the way. Then the Pikmin are just too fast for the snow bulborbs to catch up with them. At this point in the run, we reach an interesting impasse. Using the violet candy pop buds will add it to the Piklopedia, so should I do it? Well, the answer is yes. What's interesting is that instead of putting violet candy pop buds on the Piklopedia, I could put dwarf snow bulborbs on the Piklopedia, and do nothing but farm their corpses for money for the rest of the game. But let's not do that. Instead, let's get these purple Pikmin, put them on the globe, then lure these guys out of the way for just a little bit, and we have finally completed our first cave. Bum-ba-da-da! And here's our Piklopedia now. We have the violet candy pop bud in there. Wouldn't it be nice if this was all we needed in the Piklopedia? Well, surprise! It actually is! This is it. 6 Peloposi dust and the Violet Candy Pot Bud in there. That's all we need. So while we could have replaced the Violet Candy Pot Bud with the Dwarf Snow Bulborb, this is way better. Because not only do we get 2 entries either way, this way we only have 6 creatures defeated. This way is also more entertaining. And here we are in Awakening Wood. Right off the bat here we have the opportunity to collect spicy berries, but I decided against using sprays in this challenge because it would have made certain elements of the challenge way easier. While I wait for the wall to be destroyed, I decide I'm going to collect the Sunseed berry. So I lure these dwarf bulborbs out of the way and distract them with Louie, and I grab these 5 reds and I put them on the berry. Then I distract the bulborb, and we're good to go. At last, the wall gets destroyed, and now we can take on the Hole of Beasts. This floor isn't as easy as it seems, it turns out. You see this? They carry the treasure right through the clovers, and when I go to the Piklopedia at the end of the day, there's clovers in the Piklopedia. There's nothing I could have done. It's very frustrating. I had to reset a few times before I got a layout where they wouldn't carry the Stone of Glory through clovers. The rule of thumb is that when a plant vibrates, it'll appear in the Piklopedia. Now you see this orange plant? It actually vibrates right here. But this orange plant actually does not appear in the Piklopedia, thankfully. It's just not an entry in the Piklopedia, which is pretty lucky. On this floor, there's nothing to do other than making 8 purple Pikmin. It actually was a little bit tricky plucking them because there's these glow shrooms all around them. Ugh, so frustrating. This floor would also be trivial if it wasn't for these darn glow shrooms. See right there, it just got added to the Piklopedia, so I have to reset. But no need to worry. After resetting a couple times, I get a layout where there's no glow shrooms in the way of my pass, so it's very easy to collect both treasures. Don't hit the glow shroom, don't you do it! Okay, they went around. Phew, close one. Alright, now let's get serious. So you might not think we can get this treasure inside this red bulborb. I mean, that requires killing it, right? Well, yes, but actually no. Here's what I do. I place the red bulborb over the fire vent like this. Next, I take these purple Pikmin, and I go over to the red bulborb and I kill it while it's not with the fire vent. The treasure ricochets off of the fire vent like that, and I zoom in. But what did that accomplish? I mean, the red bulborb is dead, right? Well, you see, while I'm zoomed in like this, the red bulborb does not update. If I were to put the red bulborb back on the camera, its ghost would appear, like that, and then it would be added to the Piklopedia. As long as it's off camera, it's not added to the Piklopedia. Anyway, let's go back with a save state, and now we can throw 3 purples on the Dream Architect while keeping the red bulborb off camera so that it doesn't finish dying. I also need to keep my Pikmin away from the red bulborb because if they get close, the red bulborb will update again and it would finish dying. This is why it was so important for the Dream Architect to slide so far away from the red bulborb. And that's all there is to it. That was the toughest treasure we've had to collect so far, but don't worry, they do get even tougher. So let's just do the same trick here, right? Unfortunately, no. The Empress Boblacks, like most bosses, actually always update, even when off camera and when far away from Pikmin. So there is no way, currently, to collect its treasure without having it appear on the Piklopedia, which is quite unfortunate. So here's our haul, this is it. I'm going to prove to you real quick that the Piklopedia is still intact. And here you go. See? Just the Violet Candy Pot Bud and Peloposies. Nothing new was added. Now, thanks to Hole of Beasts, I have 20 purple Pikmin, so let's crush this paper bag and make our way into the White Flower Garden. Floor 1 is easy enough. Just go in front of your Pikmin carrying the treasure and lure the male suregrubs out of the way. Floor 2 is even easier. Just put some purples on this guy, put some reds on the other guy, and that's both treasures collected. If only we could make white Pikmin, but the Ivory Candy Pot Buds will be added to the Piklopedia if we do that. So, that means we're not going to be able to get white Pikmin for the entire run. There's no trick, there's no glitch, no white Pikmin for the entire run. That means all buried treasures will remain buried. So on that note, we're done with this floor. Man, we're sure going to lose a lot of pokos for not having white Pikmin. But it's not all gloom and doom. These poison vents are just suggestions. Who needs white Pikmin? What's going on here is that when you whistle a Pikmin from being poisoned, it has a bit of a cooldown that keeps it from getting poisoned immediately after. So during that cooldown, we can destroy the poison vent. All I need to do is repeat that trick a couple more times, and then I can collect the other treasure too. And we're out of here. Once again, getting the knapsack requires me killing the Snagrit. So, no knapsack. So, that means we're done with the White Flower Garden. Alright, today's the day that we gotta collect a geographic projection. And boy, it was not easy at all. The only way to get to the geographic projection is to clip up here on this ledge, and to do that, I need to lure this creeping chrysanthemum all the way over here without having this Pikmin touch the flowers. Then, if he stands on top of the corner of this ledge for too long, he'll fall down, which then allows us to use him to get us up the ledge. We like to call this trick Lugia Skip. I go on a quick little side quest to destroy this wall, which doesn't take too much time. And here's where things start to get difficult. First, I need to get these Pikmin through the water without the Wollywog crushing them. Then, these male sheargrubs try to ruin my day, so I need to get out of their way, today, and that's what I say. Next, I put this red Pikmin up here so I can distract the sheargrubs. Then, I put these Pikmin on the bridge, all the while keeping the sheargrubs away from them. Which almost ended in disaster, but I saved it. We're good, we're good. I also need to be cautious about not hitting this plant. But, now the sheargrubs will just target the red Pikmin, but the red Pikmin's higher than them, so it won't attack them. Recall that the air brake is over here, and I don't really want to go over here twice, so I'm going to also collect the air brake while I'm over here. I was worried about them hitting these clovers here, but you see that they're not vibrating, and that's because they're not actual clovers, they're just textures. This plant on the right here is real though, and I just barely missed it. Anyway, now that the air brake is here, I need to whistle these Pikmin off of it, otherwise they'll stupidly try to carry it into the poison. But when I put the Pikmin back on the air brake, they'll just carry it in the circle. Now this is where things start to get really messy. So my original idea was to distract these sheargrubs like this. But watch these female sheargrubs. As soon as I make a segment of the bridge appear, their life mission becomes to take out that segment of the bridge, regardless of what's happening around them. It's bad. Especially when you're trying to carry the globe across the bridge and all of a sudden, the bridge isn't there anymore. So here's what I end up having to do. First, I put this red Pikmin up here in this ledge, because I still want to distract the male sheargrubs, otherwise you're just going to eat my Pikmin. Next, I let this globe lie in front of the bridge, and then put my Pikmin on the bridge. Then, I put some Pikmin back on the globe. And once they're done finishing the bridge, I need to whistle them, because otherwise they're just going to attack the sheargrubs, and that'd be bad. I sprint over here and put a Pikmin on the air brake, because now that the bridge is complete, they have a path to the ship, but I need to be fast because otherwise the sheargrubs would destroy the bridge. Furthermore, I don't need this red Pikmin up here anymore. It has served its purpose. I need to be a little cautious about these sheargrubs attacking the Pikmin carrying the air brake. But now the fun begins, because as you can see, the sheargrubs have destroyed parts of the bridge already, so the Pikmin are stuck. So now I need to start building the bridge again while it's being torn down. I need a fair number of Pikmin to do it too, because otherwise the sheargrubs will destroy the bridge faster than it'll be rebuilt. Once it's rebuilt, I need to whistle the Pikmin, otherwise the sheargrubs will just instantly die. And now it's a race against time, because the bridge is about to be destroyed again. And this one red Pikmin decides to YOLO it against a female sheargrub, almost causing me to have to reload a save state again. Which, by the way, I could not have done this without save states, it was so hard. But at last, we're home free. The Pikmin have successfully carried both treasures through the bridge without colliding on the flowers on either side. Additionally, we just barely made it, the bridge just got destroyed again. Now the only thing that's left to do is to lure these scrubs out of the way, and we can finally collect both treasures at ease. Let's head into the Citadel of Spiders now. This first floor isn't too bad, but the shearwigs are a little bit annoying to lure away. Next up, we have this lipstick, which is often picked up by a dweeble, but no worries because a single purple pound is enough to make it drop it. And I almost killed the dweeble there, but it didn't die, so we're fine. Also, collecting this duck head is very trivial. But you know what's not trivial is collecting the treasure inside this Wollywog, which we can in fact do. I had to go through a very intricate setup to get this to work. First, I place this Pikmin just out of reach of the Wollywog. Then what I do is I run right next to it, run away, and zoom in the camera. During that time, the Wollywog actually decided that it would jump at Olimar, but because it's off camera, it doesn't do this until it's on camera again and updates. So now, it does this super jump. If you're interested in this, I'll have a video in the description that will showcase this Wollywog super jump further. Another neat feature about Wollywogs is that they'll actually only take 7 hops toward their home before they make a new home. So now it has a home right underneath the research pod, which is where I want it. Next, what I do is I place Louie right next to the hole, and this will make sense in a little bit. I also lower Olimar's health a little bit. You might be starting to connect the pieces here. And here's where everything finally starts to come together. So here, I put the Wollywog right underneath the research pod, directly below it. Then I distract it with this purple Pikmin. Then I throw a barrage of purples on its back, which stuns it. I whistle these Pikmin off, and I throw 2 purples on it, and then I go to this fire vent and I die. Now this lets me switch to Louie, who is conveniently right next to the exit, and in the meantime those 2 purples instantly carry the treasure to the research pod. And here's the beautiful thing, all of this happens so fast that the Wollywog is still in this dying animation. Wollywogs luckily have a very slow dying animation, so it didn't die. This means that it wasn't added to the Piklopedia. We won! So now Olimar really has taken a vacation, but fortunately this level's really easy for Louie. I mean, the treasure's right next to the base, it doesn't get much easier than that. Although I did just barely squeeze this treasure between these 2 plants here. Also, the other treasure on this floor is buried, so after I collect this treasure I'm done. The next floor isn't too bad either. First, I collect this treasure by distracting the Hermit Crowman, and then distracting the Water Dumble. I was a little less careful with the other treasure though. While these Water Dumbles were distracted, this Hermit Crowman almost got one of my Pikmin, and the Pikmin just barely missed this plant on the left, but we made it. And that's all she wrote. 1 treasure is inside the Hermit Crowman, 1 treasure is inside the Beady Longlegs, and the other treasure is buried, and all of those treasures are not accessible to me currently. So that was the Citadel of Spiders. If we go to the Piklopedia again, we'll see that Wollywog that dropped the treasure earlier did not die, because it's not in the Piklopedia. Next up, I want to collect the Impediment Scourge. I could have done it later with yellows, but as you just saw, we can get a purple up here with a very strategic throw, and then the purple can pick it up. I also wanted to build this bridge while I was over here. It'll be helpful later. And then all I have to do is distract these cheerwigs once again while the Pikmin carry the Impediment Scourge past them. And once again, I could have collected the Gherkin Gate later once I get yellows, but a couple of well-placed purple throws will also allow me to collect it now. Now if this ever happens to you where the treasure gets stuck like this on the ground, all you actually need to do is zoom in the camera like this and it'll actually get through that spot it gets stuck on. Now we can carry it to the ship. Here I swap out the purples on the Gherkin Gate for reds so that they don't get flamed to death. And once again, I need to distract Shearwigs, so the way I do that is I actually use a little trick where they take flight when their health is less than half, and while flying, they can't attack Pikmin. And as for these other 3 Shearwigs, I just lure them out of the way as usual, and that works. And now we gotta get those yellow Pikmin. If you haven't realized yet, that's actually way more difficult than it sounds because, first of all, I don't have white Pikmin, so I can't destroy the poison gate. Second of all, I don't have the knapsack, so I can't just knapsack glitch up there. The only way I can do this is by going all the way to day 31, and for those of you who watch my A Button Only challenge, you might know why. There's a Spotty Bullbear that appears on day 31, and that Spotty Bullbear is going to be vital for helping me get yellow Pikmin for this challenge. So here's what I need to do. First, I want exactly 34 Pikmin, and I dismiss them right here with 1 Pikmin up on this ledge. There's plants all around here that I can't touch, so I need to be careful about where I dismiss these Pikmin. And now it's day 31, so the Spotty Bullbear's here. However, I want to get it underneath the wild yellow Pikmin, and that's not trivial. So what I do is I lure the Spotty Bullbear all the way over here, and you can see that the geometry of the land right there actually makes the Spotty Bullbear go up, and that's going to be important here in a second. But the Spotty Bullbear stays there, and I run over here to these Pikmin that I left behind. And because I have 34 Pikmin, I can stick this 1 Pikmin very far away, far enough to actually start luring the Spotty Bullbear even more. If I distract it a certain way, the Spotty Bullbear will go into that spot where it rises up and it will go over the ledge, like that. Now I need to keep sticking forward to distract the Spotty Bullbear all the way over here to these wild yellows. And once the Spotty Bullbear is far enough to the right, I put the red Pikmin far enough away so that it targets the wild yellow Pikmin. And now I want this red Pikmin back over to me, which isn't very easy because while I could just C-stick back, that would cause my other Pikmin to bump into these plants. So I need to keep C-sticking forward, and then I start walking away like this, without touching any plants. And without touching the poison, and then we made it. Now we're almost done. I throw this Pikmin up here, and then I grab my Pikmin and I C-stick it towards the Bullbear like this, and it starts attacking the Bullbear. This makes the Bullbear's hitbox bulge, and that pushes the wild yellow off the branch, like that. But we're not done yet. I still need to whistle these Pikmin away from the Spotty Bullbear. Come on, come on, come on, you're so close! Alright, next time. And okay, we got the purple back. Now we just need to whistle the wild yellow. There's one thing going in my favor here, and that's that wild Pikmin cannot be eaten, kind of like the wild red Pikmin on day 1. So even though the Bowbear can chomp on it like that, the Pikmin will just take knockback and not get eaten. Whistling the wild yellow took a lot of finagling. On a whim, I decided to go to the other side of the yellow Pikmin, and shortly after, it gets knocked just in range of my whistle. We got it! Thankfully, the Bowbear doesn't immediately eat that yellow Pikmin, and it targets the other wild Pikmin instead, so that gives me enough time to maneuver my way to Citadel of Spiders and enter it and save the yellow Pikmin. Now that I finally have this yellow Pikmin, the first thing I'm going to do is put it in the ground. I'd like more yellow Pikmin, but I can't just collect enemies' corpses to make them. So here's what I do instead. I put this yellow in the ground, which leaves me with 0 yellow Pikmin, end the day, and when I land in a different map, a yellow extinction occurs, which means I can get more yellow Pikmin this way. But I don't pluck it just yet. I end the day again, and I go to Valley of Repose to make another yellow Pikmin. This time I pluck it and I go back to Awakening Wood. Now I have 2 yellow Pikmin with me in Awakening Wood, and that means I can start working on the electric wall that prevents me from getting the blue Pikmin. But first things first, I need to lure this cloaking burrownit out of the way. I let it try to attack me a couple times so that it goes a little bit further than it would normally. And then I can make it fall down this ledge, and now it's stuck underneath the ledge. I put these 2 yellows on the electric wall, and while they work on that, I do something else. I need to get this cloaking burrownit out of the way as well, and to do that, I repeat the same trick that I mentioned earlier. Every time it attacks me, it takes a few steps forward, and then it decides whether to attack me again or to turn around. By letting it attack indefinitely, it will move indefinitely. I like to call this trick cloaking bug transportation. Anyway, once the cloaking burrownit is far enough away, it can get stuck in this corner like this. With the cloaking burrownit out of the way, I can throw some purples up to the healing cast with ease. Then I just wait around and collect these yellows at the last minute. But I still want more yellow Pikmin, so I go back to Perplexing Pool and I put these 3 yellow Pikmin back in the ground. That way I can make even more. I repeat the exact same procedure as last time. I grow 2 yellow Pikmin in Awakening Wood and Valley Repose, and I put the 2 yellows on the electric wall. Then the next day, I come back to Awakening Wood, and I finally destroy the electric wall. Now I can finally obtain blue Pikmin. Huzzah! Right away, I put my 5 new blue Pikmin to work. They drain the water, and once that happens, I can work on this wall. Once that's destroyed, I have new terrain to explore. Right away, I let these 2 yellow Pikmin start working on their next electric wall. Then I can collect the Chance Totem. Once again, I let these yellow Pikmin work until sunset. For the next couple days, I decided that I would do some productive things in Perplexing Pool. First, I need to unravel this bridge here so that I can let my 5 yellow Pikmin work on the electric gate. I don't really do anything noteworthy for the rest of the day. There's not much left of the wall, so these 5 yellow Pikmin can destroy it rather quickly. Then I put a few blues on this plug, but I have something else in mind for the other 2 blues. I'm gonna do another Wollywog Superjump, just like the one I did in Citadel of Spiders. At this time, the water also drains. The Wollywog makes a new home here, but I want it right in front of the structure here for the next Wollywog Superjump that I have in mind. With the next Wollywog Superjump set up, I go over to this very precise spot and unleash the jump. Look closely and you'll see the Wollywog zoom down out of bounds. It vanishes, but its pellet drops back and bounce. For some reason, that weird structure causes the Wollywog's trajectory to deflect way off to the side, which is why it falls out of bounds. Furthermore, when an enemy falls out of bounds, it doesn't appear in the Piklopedia, which is why I was able to do this and grow blue Pikmin. However, this was a lot of work for just a few blues, so I'm just going to resort to doing extinctions from now on. With that said, I bury all my yellows and blues in the last remaining moments of the day, so that I can do just that. I do another one of these extinction cycles, and then I do some more work on this electric gate. Before doing the next extinction cycle, I decide I'm going to do Glutton's kitchen. In the meantime, I make sure that all my blues are buried. With the electric gate destroyed, I'm all set to do Glutton's kitchen in the next section. And right off the bat, we have this first treasure here, which I was concerned would be difficult to grab without whites. It turns out that these red Pikmin are still able to carry it fast enough that these dwarf bullbears cannot catch up to them. Thank goodness. The next floor was easy enough. Just put some yellows on this cookie up here, and then some reds on this lid right here, and distract this shear grub, and that's all there was to it. While I obviously can't kill the node beetles on this floor, I can paralyze them for some time by throwing a purple next to one, so that's exactly what I do to get these two treasures. On floor 4, first I set up some yellow bait on this table. Then I lure this spotty bullbear and the dwarf bullbears over to it so that they can be distracted while I collect the other treasures. While we can now collect these two treasures, I'm still not sure if we can collect the spotty bullbear's treasure. Note that we can't just kill it off camera, because like bosses, it will always update even when off camera. On the other hand, we could move the spotty bullbear underneath the research pod, kill it, and collect this treasure and then immediately move on, but the spotty bullbear has a very fast dying animation, so I'm not sure if we can fit all that in time. This level actually wasn't too bad. Dwarf bullbears can actually move very far away from where they initially spawned, so I'm able to lure all these guys out of the way of these two treasures, and then I can collect both treasures with ease. And lastly, we have to collect all this food before the bread bugs can get to it, otherwise we'd be required to kill the bread bugs to get the food. But unfortunately, we can't even pick up the giant bread bug's treasure before it completes dying. When it's all said and done, we got 12 treasures and 990 pokos, so it was a pretty good haul from the Glutton's kitchen. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the first part of this Low-Piklopedia challenge. I figured I would split this into 2 parts since this video is getting long, and it's been a while since I uploaded a video to my channel. Anyway, in the next part, we will keep this Piklopedia intact and pay off the debt. I hope to see you then.